Well, gentlemen, thanks a lot for having me come speak to you. This is an honor. I was, if somebody would have said I'd have been a sports writer, I'd have said you lie. It just ended up being a career that I didn't think that I was going to end up doing. It just, thanks to all you gentlemen and everything like that. As I look at this way, we were all fortunate. We all made it through, and that's really cool. Interestingly enough, before I went into the Army, I hadn't graduated from CU yet. But I started taking Peace Corps training, and I was going to go to Kenya, East Africa. But then I kind of made my own mistakes about not getting ready. After 2 years, I had training at Wisconsin and down south at that Tuskegee Institute, and it was interesting down there. Going to school down there, with most of the Peace Corps trainers, most of us were white, and we're in a black college, and it was interesting. All those guys accepted us. It was really great, and it was just fun being down there with them and everything like that, and I learned a lot. But I trained for basically for 2 years to go to Kenya, and unasema Kiswahili sasa. I still speak Swahili, which is fun because when the Kenyan runners come in for sports and stuff like that to run at CU, I can always go up and say, Jambo bwana, habari gani? And they'll say, unasema Kiswahili? Ndio. They'll say, umji gani? So, umji hasa. So anyway, it was always kind of fun, but I didn't get to go to Kenya. Because what happened was I hadn't finished my degree yet, and so what happened, we were waiting to go, but back then I didn't get back into school, and they told us get back in school or you're gonna get drafted. Yeah, my mom did that. So anyway, I didn't. I got back. I went down to the military. I showed them all my stuff, all my Kenyan stuff to go over and everything, and they said you can go when you get back. That was that simple. So I enlisted in the Army. My cousin Mick said be a medic, and he was naval. He said they'll take care of you. I said no, I'm going to go Army. And what was interesting, my brother was also in. But Mick and Kurt were in Vietnam before I was, and Kurt was going to extend. Dad said get your butt home and let Scott take his chances. So that's how I ended up. So all three of us went, and we all were lucky, and we all made it. I got started out, in the Army. It was kind of interesting because, when I got over there, I was the nurse in our medical company, and one of the gentlemen would come in from AFBN, and we'd have these discussions about the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was from Kansas City, and back then you guys know, Kansas City always beat Denver. So anyway, he came over one afternoon and he says, hey Scott, our sportscaster's going home. Do you want to do sports for us? And I said, how can I do that? I said, I'm the head nurse here, I can't. He said, Scott, sports is unlike anything else. He said, all you have to do is take the AP and the UPI reports, cut them down to where you're reading, about 15 minutes, because we just do sports and news. We don't do any weather or anything like that. And he said, just get as many teams in as you can from around, from all over. He says, even if it's just 2 or 3 sentences, but college, just get them in there because we got men from all over, and stuff. So just make sure that you get it all in there. So I started doing that. I was really surprised that I'm gonna, do it. But I'd get the AP and the UPI reports, and I'd take them over to the R8 station and everything like that, and I'd cut them down and get what I wanted to talk about and everything like that, and then kind of go from there and just kind of put that stuff together, and then just kind of put it together. But before sports and everything, I was at NJC, Northeastern Junior College, and I was on the track and wrestling teams, and we were the conference champions in track, and I was all conference in track. I wrestled, but I wasn't one of the better wrestlers. But what's nice is we won the national championship. Well, actually, we tied for the national championship, and I'm in the picture, with our team and everything. So it's always been fun that way. But fun things too. Then I went to CU after that, but I didn't wrestle or anything at CU. I started working again with the Denver Post with my dad. My dad worked for the Denver Post back then, and then it was just kind of crazy about how things got done. And when I started writing sports and stuff, my dad called when I went to the Rocky Mountain News. My dad called like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I answered. He said, he says, you know, he said, you know, Dad, he says, he called me up and says, traitor, because he was with the Denver Post. And the only thing he said, I said, Dad, I said, the Post didn't hire me, the news did. Traitor. That's the only thing he said. The entire conversation in the morning was traitor. So it was kind of fun, but it was in Vietnam when you know, I became the sports guy on TV. Like I said, it was only sports. I only had to take the stuff off AP and UPI. So when we had casualties coming in, they always had somebody that could come over and take the sports and read the sports again in. But it was always kind of interesting. But what some of the fun times.
What year was this?
This is 69 and 70. Yeah. And what was also fun is that, you know, several you know, actors, movie stars, athletes and stuff would come over and visit, you know, on handshake tours, and they'd go through the areas and they'd get them out. But for me, the most memorable was Floyd Little and Jack Snow came over on a handshake tour, and it just so happened that right outside of our medical bunker, we got hit. So Floyd Little is in our bunker with us, Jack Snow, and you know, we're getting things ready to, you know, take any casualties if we have anything coming in or anything like that. And about 30 minutes later, they get them out of there. They get them on the choppers, and they just get them out. So what's memorable is I'm out at the Broncos, and I'm starting my riding career. I'm out to meet Bobby Anderson, and while I'm waiting, Floyd walks by, and I said, "Hi, Floyd, how are you?" And he says, "I think I know you." He said, "Yeah, you met me in Vietnam. You were in the bunker with me." So we're in there. So while we're in there, some of the guys are over there, and he calls me over and says, "Scott, tell these guys what happened the day I met you in Vietnam." And so I told him. He says, "See, combat veteran," because we got hit that day. So that was always memorable. So I've known Floyd for a long time, and a lot of the other Broncos and stuff too. But it was just interesting, you know, getting started. I didn't think I was going to be a sports writer or caster or anything like that. But so it was really nice that I was able to do that. One thing that you know, after doing all the stuff there, I started kind of, you know, do I want to kind of make a career out of this? But at first I didn't think I was going to, because right after Vietnam I got sent to Hawaii. Nancy came over. We're nice. Our oldest daughter was born in Hawaii. She loves to say she's Kam Aina, and and all that good stuff. But you know, there was an opportunity. Do you want to re-enlist and everything like that? And I said, no, I kind of want to go a different way. So 1 week after I got out of the Army, I started Colorado Sidelines, which was a high school sports newspaper that went all over the state. And when you get down to it, I was saying to Nancy, putting things together, I said, you know, I'm going to be more or less, you know, covering things, not doing anything. And I said, you know, kind of on the sidelines. What do you want to cover? And she says, call it Sidelines. So she said, just call it Sidelines. So we named it named it Sidelines, Colorado Sidelines. And after the first issues and everything like that were fun. I think you might, I don't know if I have it right here. I don't have it here. But on the very first issue of my Colorado Sidelines paper, Dave Logan was on the cover. This was when he was a senior at high school at Wheat Ridge High School. And it was just kind of crazy that, you know, that I ended up picking Dave. And then with the first Steinmark Award, I started the Fred Steinmark Award, which I'm very grateful to say has become the most prestigious high school award in Colorado for a boy and a girl. And they have to, it only goes to seniors. They have to have played 2 sports. They have to have had good grades. They had to be involved in their community and school. It's not just they're an athlete. And so when you look at all the guys and girls that have won the Steinmark over the years, boy, there have been some fascinating things that these guys have done and women have done. But it's always fun that, you know, Dave got the first one, and then he got the first Steinmark, and what Dave has done now, and because, you know, we've known each other for a long time, and it's just been a real pleasure, you know, knowing Dave like I have. But while I was in Hawaii as a nurse, I also got started in officiating, and I started officiating basketball, and I really got a kick out of that. And
officiating basketball?
Well, yeah, but not like I did in Hawaii. But anyway, I really started, you know, really got serious about the officiating, and it was fun, and all that good stuff. And you know, whenever I had, you know, stuff going on, I didn't have to officiate if something came up or anything like that. But it was actually, you know, like I said, 1 week out of the Army, that's when I started sidelines. And as I said, you know, Nancy did it. When I got back from NJC, and I just, you know, I didn't do any sports, you know, except I worked for the Denver Post with Dad, you know, just carrying papers around to the kids and everything like that. I took them around to the carriers and put their papers on the block and everything like that. So I wasn't really writing anything and stuff like that. Like I said, with the Army, for the reporting, all I did was use the AP and the UPI reports and all that kind of good stuff. And I got as many items and lists and schools around as I could, and all that kind of good stuff. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you landed in Saigon, right?
Yeah, we landed down here, but then
Right, and then you looked on the map
Yeah.
where you were going?
Yeah, I had no idea where it was going to go because, you know, Mick had been down here and Kurt had been around here. Then all of a sudden I'm up here. I had no idea where that was. I'm kind of, where's Quang Tri? You know, and I start going, holy cow, it's up here on the DMZ. And since I was the third one in our family, it was almost like, okay, is the luck going to run out for the family? Am I going to, you know, be? But I didn't. And, you know, after, when I got up there, like I said, the first, 4 months, and, you know, I was in and out of the field. And the thing that I always remember, too, is that about 3 weeks, a little less than a month, I carried an M16 like a lot of guys to start. But we came under fire, and I started firing the same way the other guys were, and we were on the ground. But I didn't get off very many rounds when one of the guys just slammed me. And later on, Lieutenant Kellogg was in my face nose to nose. And I'd been cussed out by experts. But that's probably one of the best cussing outs I ever got in my life. And he said, Stalker, you're a nurse. You lay on the field till somebody, you know, till somebody needs you. If you need to use a weapon, use the one of the man you're working on. And don't wear any medical equipment that says you're a medic or a nurse. He said, that's not good. So, you know, when I went out with the guys, you know, I was just with them until something happened. And if they got hurt, I'd just, you know, lay down. But I remember one of the more memorable times, we were out in the field. And we had, you guys probably know, you probably had, if you're in Vietnam, you probably had Vietnamese that were with you and stuff like that. And we had some, you know, Vietnamese men that were kind of scouts that went ahead of our unit when we were out in the field. Well, it just kind of happened this one time, well, more than once, but in this particular time for me, we had two of our guys that were out in front, two of the Vietnamese guys were out in front, and they got hit. And it was just really crazy. I don't know, reaction, I just headed out to them. And they were on the road, we were under fire, and I pulled them off the road into the ditch. I just rolled them to just get them off our road into the, you know, on the side, just to pull them off and everything like that. And then finally, you know, we had people come in and get them and everything like that. And I was really surprised later on. They notified me and said that the Vietnam people were going to give me the Cross of Gallantry for going out and getting them. So that's one of the awards that I got, was picking up those guys under fire and taking care of them. But like I said, you know, I wasn't carrying a weapon or anything like that, and I just made sure that I pulled those guys off the road. And yeah.
You would have, as a 91C, did you go over there as an E5 then?
No, I went over as an E5, but they promoted me to 6. It was really funny. I went from 3 to 5 to 6. Because, you know, right after I got out of nursing school, you know, I was a 3. They promoted me to 5. You know, I said, well, I never was a 4.
No, so you were kind of like instant NCO without a lot of experience being an NCO.
That's very true.
I just wondered how that felt, because I know what the rank structure was, but it didn't, you know, it's great in the ward, but if you're out in the field,
Yeah,
it's something
well,
else.
I think it's like all the guys. You guys were out there. You just did what you had to do, and that's basically what it was. And when when the officers and stuff said, "Stalker, get your butt here, get your butt there," or whatever, you know, I'd do it. And but what was always interesting too is that later on, you know, even then, but from our station up at Quang Tri, we'd fly out to get we'd go to other areas to pick up the casualties, and they'd call us and say, hey, you know, come and get them. So we'd get on the choppers and get on them. And I have to admit, guys, every time I got on a chopper to go out there, you know, I was scared. I just didn't know what the situation was going to be. We'd go in, we'd get down, we'd get 2 or 3 guys on the chopper, then we'd get out. You guys have been in Vietnam or anything like that, you know that that's kind of how we did it. And we just get them and get out. And so I was, I'm not afraid to say back then I was a little scared because I wasn't sure what would happen to the choppers. But then after becoming the head nurse, it was, pretty nice. Then I didn't have to go out in the field anymore, but I'd go out to pick up casualties, and I'd go up to other areas, not in our area, but if they were having more up in, up further in other areas, we'd go up there to take care of the guys up there. But then when they were coming into our area, that's where I had to be, was in our aid station, and so I did that. But it was, it's kind of interesting. I'm glad I had the opportunity to do sports and stuff on TV because I'd go over, I'd get the reports and everything like that in the morning after our med calls and everything like that, and I just put everything together that I could, and it took my mind off a lot of other crap that was going on that you guys have all gone through, and it was nice that I didn't. Sometimes we could go sometimes we'd go several days with nothing happening. You guys know that. Then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose, and we'd have to take care of guys and stuff like that, and we did, and I was with a very good unit.
So the Vietnamese saw him on TV, and we went into the PX one time and they recognized you.
Yeah.
What's your nickname in Vietnam?
Baby Son.
Say that a little louder.
Baby Son.
They said, "Oh, there's Baby Son."
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. Then we'd go. We'd take our medical unit. We'd go into Quang Tri. Go around the town. They had the little medical areas and stuff set up there, and we'd go into those areas. We'd go into their doctor point offices and stuff like that, and take care of people if they needed somebody to take care of. If we'd go do that, and it was nice. I've got, some of you guys probably saw. I got a lot of pictures of downtown Quang Tri and everything like that, and we got pictures in the field that guys were out there. They'd take pictures when we were out there. So I'm glad I got the pictures and everything like that, and I'm glad I got the pictures of the guys in my unit and everything like that, and I'm glad there were guys that could grab a few pictures of me to show I was really there. So it was interesting, but I was lucky. I just like I said, the reporting just kind of took off, and when I got back and I started Colorado Sidelines, it just kind of took off. We had it fixed up to where it was it was an 8 to 12 page little paper, but it was every week, but every other week, every week to start.
What was the sign that's just out of view of that news sports? Just below that, they posted a sign about you. What did it say, Scott?
Oh yeah, contingency plan if Stalker gets wasted. Yeah, so it was fun, being able to do that. It just took my mind off of a lot of things. But like I said, when we had casualties, that's what I had to do.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Huh? Well, that was before me, but
The guy came back.
Yeah.
You met him.
yeah, yeah.
Not Patrick.
Huh? Yeah.
Adrian
Konar, yeah. Yeah, so it's been kind of nice to, to know a lot of, having met a lot of those guys, and it's always been nice with all the athletes and stuff like that I've been able to cover over the years. I've been very fortunate, to know the guys that I know, and
Tell me about the donuts. How'd you get donuts at the sick call?
Oh.
Yeah, in the little sterilizer that you repurposed.
Yeah, we made our own donuts for a while. So.
In the sterilizer.
Yeah.
So that all the guys coming in for sick call could have some donuts.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I did, and guys, that was kind of a memory moment that we'd put things together and everything like that, and they were just round holes. They weren't donuts, but we'd put them together, and the guys would come in, and some of the guys said, "I want a donut." Well, I'm not seeing you this morning. I still want a donut, Stalker. so we'd give out the donuts and stuff like that. So we always made sure we made as many as we could, so that when the men came in, we could get them some donuts and stuff like that. I've been, really fortunate over the years. I think, I mean, if, like I said, if somebody said I would have been a sports writer, I would have said you lie. But it's just been very fortunate that, everything that I've been able to do and the awards that I've won and, being inducted into the Halls of Fame. I was, I've always been surprised. I was the first man inducted into the Colorado Coaches of Girls Sports Hall of Fame. I'm in the Colorado High School Activities Association Hall of Fame. I'm in the baseball hall. I'm in the Colorado Coaches Association, and then, what's fun? Motorsport. Yeah, I'm in the National Motorsports Hall of Fame. But
So you're at a pretty pivotal point in high school sports as far as women went.
Well, yeah. The interesting thing, for the first 2 years in girls' high school sports here in Colorado, I did name all state girls teams, and for the first 2 years, CHSAA did not recognize them. And then later on, they went back and they said, "Scott, your teams are now recognized. Those teams are now official." And because
These are called play dates.
yeah,
They didn't actually consider them.
They didn't have a state-
competition.
yeah.
Right,
They did.
yeah.
And you weren't supposed to keep score.
Oh,
Well, they started, but it was completely a little bit different. Then they finally got into it. But I went ahead and for the first 2 years, I put together the all-state girls teams, and it just I was really surprised, and it caught on. And what's been fun when it comes to girls sports and everything like that, coverage and everything like that, I was pretty prominent on what we did over the years and everything like that. And now, a lot of the stuff that goes on, what's fun is that when it comes to sports, I get into everything free.
Our first January cover was of our daughter was a baby, so she was about 8 months old, and she had all this sports equipment around her. And that was the year of Title IX.
yeah, okay.
So
I
she's
thought
a-
that you were hitting about that.
Yeah.
So she was the Title IX baby.
Yeah, so yeah, so it's kind of fun. It just just kind of crazy how things gone. And it just I've been very fortunate with what I'm doing, and I just turned 70, and I feel like I'd like to ride a little bit longer as I can. And I have Parkinson's. I was Agent Orange like probably several of you guys were, and I've been taking my my Parkinson's meds for quite a while now, and I take it twice a day to stop the shaking and everything like that. I'm not shaking right now, but sometimes you guys, you see me, I'll shake, and it gets to be kind of crazy. But from that standpoint, I feel pretty lucky, and I've been pretty religious with the medication. I go down to the VA, and I'll see guys down there just shaking like hell, and and they'll say, well, they were in those areas, and they said, well, I just never started taking the pills. I just kind of let it go. Didn't recognize it as that's what it was. But what's nice is that when I go down to the VA and sit around, there's a lot of the men down there. They've read me. They know who I am, and it's nice to have conversations. Other than just I'll ask them about their sports careers. What did you play and everything like that. So it's pretty nice that I can go down there and not just sit and I'll go and I'll see a lot of guys just sitting there, but I've gone in and they'll say, "Hi, Scott," so they know who I am, and so that's pretty. I've been very fortunate from that standpoint, with all that all the athletes and stuff that I've known, and like the Broncos and stuff. Elway, I wrote about his kids and when they were in high school, and oh yeah, Amy Van Dyken. If you guys probably heard of Amy Van Dyken, she's the first story about Amy Van Dyken when she was a freshman, I wrote it. And I would have, and I even projected that someday in the story that she might be. Well, you go ahead.
She said, "Thank you for writing the story," and he said, "That's okay. You can pay me back with an autograph when we win the Olympics." This is when she's a freshman in high school.
So we were just kind of.
Yeah. So we have the lead spots.
Yeah. So when she won, she said, "Here, Scott, here it is." so I've known her for years, but I've been fortunate with the athletes around Colorado, and not just Colorado, that I've been able to cover and everything like that with the papers and stuff. It's been a lot of fun, and I want to keep going as long as I can, because I'm not a sit-at-home type of person.
Tell them what you do for Rotary.
Oh yeah,
our exchange.
yeah. Oh, this is fun. Yeah. Nancy is very involved in Rotary too, And so what happens is that during the summer, the foreign exchange students come in, and we've had about 20 foreign exchange students live with us when they've come over to,
Not all at once.
yeah, not all at once, just like one, but the kids will live with us. And then, we take them to school, they basically become our sons and daughters while they're here, which is a lot of fun and stuff. And then when we've been fortunate, we've gone, overseas a couple times, we get to go stay at their parents' house or with them. Yeah, go ahead.
Tell them about the bus trip.
Oh, okay. Yes. So on the bus trip, we take the kids,
All at once.
all at once. And the funny thing is that when Nancy and I do it, we're the only chaperones of about 40-some kids from Wyoming and Colorado. But
Been living in Wyoming.
living in Wyoming, yeah, kids have been,
From all over the world.
from all over. But they, they did their high school exchanges in Wyoming and Colorado. And so, we'd take them on the bus trip, and gosh, we go to California and Disneyland and up into Seattle, just all around with these kids for a couple of weeks. And it was really a lot of fun. And, what's fun is that in several occasions, some of the kids that came over, the boys and the girls, some of them were pretty good athletes. And I wrote about them, and I sent the stories back to their papers at home. And so they always thought that was, pretty good and stuff like that. But it's been, I've just been very fortunate, doing stuff like that. Let's see, I think that's probably, yeah, I just, any questions, guys, or?
Scott, could you tell us a little more about your time at Dam?
Okay.
I mean, I know you were a nurse there and a medic, but were you in a field hospital?
Yeah, we were right. Yeah, our hospital was right in Quang Tri,
Okay.
and we had several out in smaller ones in other areas. You guys probably know about that.
It was pretty rustic.
Yeah, and we didn't have a whole lot. It was just if you saw the pictures, all it was is just some plastic. They were open, and just the screens all around. So everything was open, except our medical bunker. And the medical bunker was pretty tight, as you guys, it had lots of sandbags going around it. So in case something happened, we could get into it, where we take care of casualties and stuff like that when they'd bring them in. But it was,
You could get up on the ladder and see North Vietnam.
yeah,
What
Hey
about the,
Scott,
Yeah.
is this a decent picture of that area?
yeah, you guys have been there too, you probably, that it's just,
Paradise.
huh?
Paradise?
Paradise, yeah. Yeah, we were all lucky guys, you know that.
You could get up on the observation tower and see during the day the North Vietnamese army was playing volleyball on the other side of the.
Yeah, that was, when we go when we go, from up here, we'd go up here, up in this area like this, and it was, but nothing was happening, but I think maybe they were doing it just to have fun against us, those guys. It was crazy, back then, but, that was good that they could do that. I have no qualms. But,
You had a Vietnamese translator too when you went out
yeah.
to do
So
the.
did you go out in med camps then?
Yeah, I did. It was when, like I said, I think you saw it. We'd go into towns and everything. The areas around here into their areas and stuff like that. And we'd have 2 or 3 of us would go, and we'd stop at all the different areas and take care of anybody that was there, or at least try to take care of them and do what we could, and just kind of.
Great success with M&Ms.
Candy was a big thing up there, but no, it was, it was really fortunate. What was,
They called him Boxy, which is kind of a sign of respect. Boxy meaning the doctor.
Doctor.
It was kind of crazy, but I was very fortunate, guys. Look at it this way: we're all here. We were all fortunate.
You had a
But
dog.
we had a dog. Yeah.
Can I get you to make a left turn at Tripler? What was Tripler like in 1970?
Oh,
Besides big and pink.
yeah.
It's always got that-
It's just someplace I went. And
Okay. now-
yeah, it was
a hospital.
a good hospital. It really was, and
So he would come home, he had the 3 to 11 shift. quite
yeah,
often.
I had the evening shift. Yeah.
And so he'd come home and might be half asleep and he'd tell these stories of the day. And they received, it's right by the only interstate highway, which was always a traffic jam. And so they would take anybody that came off of the highway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't have to,
Doing underserved.
they didn't have to be military. It was a situation is get them to the the quickest hospital that you could.
And you delivered
And-
your ninth baby?
Yeah, yeah. I delivered nine babies as a nurse, and the one that's always fun to remember is the last one I delivered was in the back seat of a car.
Grandma.
It's a gremlin.
Uh-huh.
Tripler wasn't catching a lot of stuff from Vietnam.
Well, no, not really. It was more into the the local people, the guys military that were local there, of course.
Right.
And then like I said, we were more than happy to take care of the regular population if they needed us,
That was
and we'd
more
go out and do
back
that.
In Tacoma when he was training.
Yeah, I got that at Fitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was
But I
training
didn't,
at,
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
And
they didn't use it really as the back hospital on the way.
No.
As much as
No. No.
in fact,
No.
Hawaii was considered the same theater of duty. So when they told him he could go to Hawaii, and he said yes, then they said, by the way, you don't automatically get your 30 days leave. You have to go check in Hawaii and ask permission for leave. So he didn't have his round trip ticket.
I was the only one that from
Last
Vietnam.
day
The only one that
Vietnam.
I was the only one that got off the plane. Well, the guy's going home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he, all the way up at Quang Tri, it took him more than a day to get down to Saigon and
Just-
then on standby to take a plane. And so they're taking these little hoppers, and you know how it feels to be, it's my last day, I'm getting out of here. Every time the plane took off and every time the plane landed, he was scared to pieces. And so got all the way down here, then had to fly to Hawaii, spend the whole day checking in, and they were really nice, and they said, sure, you can have your 30 days. And so I finally got him 3 days later, where he'd been up all that time. That's when he
I
came.
was tired when I got home.
He fell asleep at dinner with a fork in his hand.
That must have been an interesting read.
The interesting thing is that, I'm glad I was stationed in Hawaii. It was pretty cool. I mean, her dad was stationed in Hawaii. She was conceived in Hawaii, but she was born in Washington. But her dad, it's always fun to say. I like to say, her dad was a very famous pilot. And when he passed away here a few years ago, she and her sister got a call and letter and stuff from President Obama saying, we know who but your dad was. You guys may have heard of him. It's Commander Edward Irwin. He was a commanding officer, Project Magnet. They mapped the magnetic currents and stuff of the world. Yeah, it is another story, but I always got a kick out of saying, you're famous. He said, I'm not famous. I was just doing my job.
When Scott got his orders to Vietnam, my dad gave him his flight jacket, and he said, I want you to notice one thing about it. There are no holes. I want it back.
Oh!
Yeah, that was a memorable moment. He said, I want it back, no holes. And just the way he did, there are no holes, I want it back with no holes.
But I wasn't home. I was in Costa Rica for the time he was in Vietnam,
Costa Rica.
which had no army. It's same tropical, same latitude, no army,
Yeah.
no fighting.
Yeah, I went down to visit her, so so it was nice. But no, it's like I said, gentlemen, it's been really, I've really been fortunate for what I've been able to do, and knowing all the athletes and stuff that I've known over the years, and knowing that whenever I go to a sporting event and anybody I take with me, we get in free. So yeah, when you look at when you look at what people have to pay to get in nowadays, I wonder how much over the years it's cost, But yeah.
I have a question. When you're at Tampa and you're in a field hospital and you're bringing casualties, what is the protocol? I mean, I think back, I met a senator from Kansas that lost his arm.
Dole?
Bob Dole.
One time, and I was talking to him, and he told me, he said, you know, they put a big red mark on my forehead, which meant, you know, you don't want to be the last guy you look at.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah, you know, I think that, you know, when they came in, I think we had a pretty good opportunity to really know which guys we should take care of first, you know, which men and women we need to take care of first. And so we could do that. And, you know, I wasn't the only one to make the decision or anything, because we had the other guys, like the doctors, you know, hey, Scott, hold off on this guy or hold off on this girl, and we'll get them later. And so we tried.
There weren't any girls.
Well, some, not, well, our nurses, but that's all. Well, some of the women, but we had, well, when I was in the city, you know, there were some women. So, but it was, you know, really crazy. We just took care of everybody that we could and just kind of went from there, you know, so.
In the field, they would, if they gave them morphine, they put in the morphine capsule,
Yeah.
empty capsule on
Yeah.
the collar, so that was their communication back home,
Back to the base, so we'd know if they'd had some before they came in.
Scott had the, you know, the McNamara, I guess the 90, the got low IQ,
The
like,
100,000
yeah,
program.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so he had some that were medics.
yeah,
He didn't send them out. He just didn't think
Yeah.
that was.
yeah,
A tall order for a quick E6.
yeah. It was, you know, I was pretty lucky. There were, you know, a lot of our guys and stuff like that. I mean, you know, it was a good group of men to be with. And, you know, I think like all of us, we can all say we were lucky that things kind of went the way for us. And you know, after my time in the field and coming back, and then, you know, being back at the aid station and doing my sports and stuff, that took relieved a lot of pressure that I could, you know, do the sports and stuff like that. And it just, you know, I'm just so glad that it helped lead to my career now, because I didn't ever know I was going to be a sports writer. I wanted to coach and stuff like that too, and I just completely went a different route. So I've been very fortunate, like, you know, all of us, we've all been fortunate, guys, you know, for everything. So yeah. So anything else?
So do you attend the state basketball and wrestling tournament?
I have not missed a state wrestling tournament since 1971. I've been at every one. Well, 72 actually, yeah, because wrestling state be 72. But the tournament, the small schools used to be in Greeley. And they had them at Greeley, they had them at Inglewood and stuff like that. So I'd go to the small schools the week before, then I'd get to the large schools. So all of that time, you know, I don't know, but I might be the only one that can say that both weeks, you know, since, you know, then I have not missed a tournament.
So,
And I'm on the National Committee for the Wrestling Hall of Fame too.
so in the 2000 something, they were trying to sell a electronic program that could predict the winners of the brackets for wrestling, and Scott beat it consistently year after year. So the news decided we didn't need to buy that.
No, it's always been fun. One of the things that I've done with the newspapers, I'd make my predictions on who I thought was going to win and my stories and stuff like that. And you know, I'd have guys come up to me and say, "You predicted me wrong." I won, you know, I beat him. But it's always been fun, you know, involved with wrestling and well, all sports. I like all sports, and I want to keep doing it as long as I can. You know, you just never know what the situation's going to be, and I'm sure somewhere along the line the Parkinson's is going to catch up with me. I'm not shaking right now, guys, thank goodness, but it's going to catch up, I'm sure, somewhere along the line to where I can't do it anymore. But you know, I like, you know, as long as I can keep getting in free, I want to keep doing it. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Besides, you mentioned girls basketball here in Colorado.
Yeah.
I was well acquainted with the family. One of the girls that played on the Broomfield team that won championships. 5 years ago, she was on 3 years. And I said, when I was a kid, back in the 40s, Iowa had basketball.
Yeah.
You played offense or defense. You were too dainty to rush up and down all the
Yeah, they did that. Girls basketball rules really changed. They were quite different back then.
I
Yeah.
said too dainty. And this I said, you play defense in your race gymnastics.
Yeah.
She would go for a rebound, and it better be hers. You might lose an arm. She was too dainty. Back in the old days, she'd be too dainty to run all the way up and down.
We put our daughter in various sports, the one that had all the balls and sports equipment around her for her first birthday. And she was the only girl on a number of basketball teams and the Y League. And her own team wouldn't pass to her. So she got very good at stealing the ball. And suddenly the other team would go, get the girl, guide the girl.
Yeah. What's been fun too is that both our daughters are state champions in their sports. Our youngest daughter, Sarah, became the head gymnast. She competed for Broomfield in gymnastics because Fairview didn't have a gymnastics team, so she competed for Broomfield. And right after she graduated from Broomfield, it was really crazy. She was going up to the University of Oregon, but they kind of dropped the program. And but she ended up flying from Oregon. She flew her first year. She'd fly back and forth twice a week to coach during the regular season. She became the head coach. Then she coached at Northglenn for like 13 years, and with her gymnastics and created a team. Yeah. Yeah, and then our other daughter was a swimming coach. She went to Cornell, and she was all conference there. And when she came back there, she was hired as the head swimming coach at Green Mountain High School. But now she's a financial head of the hospital out in Brighton. So if any of you guys go out to Brighton to the hospital out there, my daughter's probably going to help you. But that's what she does. That's what she does out there. But somebody asked me one time. They said, "As a sports writer, aren't you disappointed you didn't have any sons?" I said, "Are you kidding? They've never been the athletes my daughters were." So it's been fun. And our grandkids, our two, they're good little athletes. And one's going to be in high school next year. The other's got a few to go, but they're going to be good. And in fact, the interesting thing is that a son-in-law who coached at Niwot for years, and he's the one that was on the U.S. soccer team for a while, he transferred over to the school where his son's going to be. So he can coach him over there now too, coach the high school teams over there. So it's kind of crazy, but it's in Longmont. So any other question, guys? All right. I guess. Yeah. Well, thank you. Oh,
So, thank you guys again for coming. I want to present our Museum Challenge coin to Scott for his presentation this morning. Thank you, Scott, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
And don't run off, because we're going to cut our cake to celebrate our 100th coffee conversation.
Two things.
Oh,
Don't want to interrupt. First, we have a little recognition function that we want to do before we go cut the cake. So Joe Lutz and Joe Bacon will come in.
oh, okay.
Oh.
See, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Nobody else did.
You may have to get them.
Probably get and sit down, relax. Do you want the